left-wing communist trying to overturn the rightful authority of the God Emperor or President Donald Trump.
I think he wants to bring fascism to the United States, is my guess.
Oh yeah, you caught me.
No. I mean, these are all
true.
reasonable interpretations. I've been listening for a while, but I don't think anyone's like saying anything crazy or wild. But the definition of fraud in the indictment doesn't match the most recent SCOTUS ruling on what fraud is. They wanted to narrow it down to something to be more money based. Now, there are previous judicial reviews and rulings that do support that more expanded definition of fraud, but I think I think the way precedent works, and I'm not a lawyer, is we go with the most recent. So in that ruling, I would say that fraud is not merited.
Okay. I would like your interpretation of this issue here.
Yeah.
The co-conspirators. So Donald Trump tried to install puppet electors. What do you think of that?
I actually sent you a message about this a couple days ago. This is the independent elector theory. So this has been something that's been a legal theory for decades, if not maybe a century, and it's been tested on several different occasions. The most recent being in an Arizona case in 2015, it was tested, and the SCOTUS ruled 5-4 against it. But the 4 dissenting opinions, 3 of them are still seated on the Supreme Court, and now it's a 6-3 court.
Okay, describe that for us. What is that?
There was a case in 2023, Moore versus Harper, where they also ruled against it. So that was recently.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the dissenting's opinion? What is this independent elector theory?
Essentially, that if the states have the number one ruling in the Constitution, it is written that the legislature of the state is who gets to decide this, not the governor, not the Supreme Court of the state. So because the Constitution is written that specific way and not amended, the theory goes that the legislature can pick their electors regardless of what the votes say. And it kind of goes hand in hand.
That seems fucking nuts. Why? How would what is the possible justification for that? Why are there any dissenters?
The writing of the Constitution is the justification for it. And it kind of goes hand in hand. Like if an elector doesn't like what the voters, like there was a famous case with somebody wouldn't vote for George W. Bush 45 the second time around because of the war in Iraq and Afghanistan and whatnot.
Is that hanging Chad?
No.
Or dangling Chad?
That was the Al Gore thing. That was hanging Chad. So this is there was an elector that refused to do what the voters of his district wanted him to do, and then didn't cast his representative vote for Bush. So these electors, they are supposed to do this, but it's more of an honor system and not.
Some states require it by law and some don't.
Yes, that's true. Some don't.
What kind of fucknut bullshit is that? So what happens if all these electors just decide, we decided that the California voters don't represent my particular interest, we're going to vote for the opposite party?
Democracy. That's what happens.
Depends on the state. Some states, they can get away with it.
Yeah, that's a representative democracy. The representatives are the ones that get the final say. It is written in the Constitution that the representatives are there to be a bulwark against the uneducated masses or the majoritarian.
Are the electors the representatives? I thought the representatives are the representatives.
Sorry, I am using those kind of interchangeably. I'm the electors that are put in place, the 538 electors that are put in place.
Well, we should get rid of that fucking bullshit because that's ridiculous.
It may be, but that's just kind of how the law is written right now.
This is why we need a second constitutional convention. We need a revolution. Every now and then, the tree of liberty must be watered with the blood of tyrants.
You always forget the Patriots part. It's important to have the Patriots part in that quote.
And yeah, true. And anyone who is willing to spill the blood of tyrants must be prepared to spill the blood of themselves as patriots.
Yep.
This is wild. This doesn't make any sense. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
I was distracted for a second, so you guys might have already covered this question. But the electors, they are individuals. That's correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And these individuals are selected from a pool of who? And how are they selected? I guess it depends on the state.
It depends on the state.
And is this just a random selection of people from the country?
No.
Or sorry, from the state?
Well, it would be from each state.
Yeah, so like say the
electors
from
selected?
Arizona, how are these people selected? Is it people who are in office at some level of government? Is it just the population? Is it?
It probably varies by state, but I'm looking it up now.
I'm pretty
Are
sure.
there any states in which it's just a random selection
Let's
of
ask
citizens?
Jamie GPT. Let's ask Chat Jamie PT.
In the most general way that you see it is state and party representatives. Party will appoint somebody.
In general, state parties file slates of names for who the electors will be, people with ties to the state parties, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
But it does vary from state to state.
And so this isn't a random selection always either. Like there's a process.
Like they just put your name in a hat and you could randomly
Political
end up
parties
as an elector.
nominate their slate of electors through the party's central committee. Isn't the central committee like a term for like communist, or isn't that what they called isn't that the communist leading thing was the central committee?
I've heard
that's what Soviet means. Soviet means committee.
Interesting.
I put an article in Discord that explains the process. They're called faithless electors if they don't vote in accordance with how the
some states this is enshrined within their state legislation that all the electors have to vote according to the popular vote for the candidate in that state. However, there are some states like I'm guessing Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, New Mexico, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin in which they can go rogue. And it's just they're expecting that based on the honor system they won't. That's the idea?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what Trump and his gang were
and so they went
exploit.
and made fake orchestrated some sort of fake ballots or fake mechanism by which they picked other electors who they knew would be loyal to them and vote against the popular vote within the state.
Yes.
Yep, that's how.
And what's the evidence for that?
Pending Pence.
It's
well, if you read the indictment, it's pretty convincing, at least to me, because they go into great detail. But I'm assuming they're going to have the evidence.
I would say anything that Pence says is very suspect, in my opinion. Because Pence,
but you're
fucking
just trying
military-industrial complex sheep.
I know you're a conspiracy theorist, and you're trying to maintain your narrative.
You are ignorant.
I don't think you're allowed to say that when you're literally talking about a conspiracy theory right now.
If you think that the military-industrial complex,
well, this is an actual conspiracy.
Well, that's what I mean.
So
is
this
like
is a great
obviously they can have
but the military-industrial complex is not an actual conspiracy.
Valuable.
The military-industrial complex is not an actual conspiracy?
I'm an interventionist. I don't think it is.
Oh, my. Okay.
I'm actually going to have
We are done with the neocons. We need the key to being enlightened is to just have people who agree with you. Then it makes you feel more enlightened.
I couldn't agree more, Paul.
All right. Well, we are at an hour or so.
I don't feel safe.
Are there any final points we want to make? I read my takeaway from this exchange has been that that's more concerning than I originally anticipated. I did not know there was this extent to install puppet electors. However, as Tyler just pointed out, if there is precedent for an independent legal, even though it's stupid as fuck,
it might be constitutional.
I'd be curious to know what the 4 dissenting opinions were. Who dissented?
So maybe not a vote for Trump.
I need to see the evidence.
Still deciding.
That might change my mind.
Again, it's well. First off,
we have progress.
First off, that's true. Totally, I'm definitely less inclined to vote for Trump now than I was previously.
And I believe in conspiracy theories way more just across the board now.
That's fair. I also donate. I've donated money already to 2 candidates, 1 Democrat, 1 Republican. I've donated to RFK Jr.
and Vivek
Ramaswamy.
Nice. That's the unit. That's Unity Party 2024 right there. Brett Weinstein. I'm sure he's gearing up for that.
I also want a uniparty. Wait, what'd you say, Jeff?
You got grifted. But
by who?
Both of them.
Well, I don't think Vivek's going to win.
I think
I just want to amplify his voice because he's making a lot of sense.
Out grifter.
Which one's the conspiracy theorist?
Probably RFK.
Really? On what? On the topic of
his father's assassination by the CIA?
Have you read the fucking letter that the FBI sent to Martin Luther King? It's fucking anyone who says like the CIA and FBI are these like, high-end institutions. I'll just fucking pull it up. It's unbelievable.
Well, Jeff, do you think that I don't know enough to have like a firm opinion,
boss.
But on the assassinations of JFK and RFK, do you have a firm opinion one way or the other?
Not really.
Whether or not those were
The conspiracy theory?
Yeah, if it was orchestrated by the CIA.
I think everything's a conspiracy theory until I have reason not to.
Well,
Because
that's
I know
what I
how
mean.
easily it can get generated.
No, I don't disagree with you there. But to the degree that you've looked into the assassinations of RFK and JFK, do you think that there's an amount of a reasonable amount of evidence to suggest it's possible that those were orchestrated by the CIA?
I haven't looked into it enough to give any credible statement, but it's based on my experience with the conspiracy theorists that have looked into it and my reaction against.
So based off that, you think probably not.
This is what the
I haven't actually
FBI
looked into it myself.
Fair enough.
The FBI sent this to Martin Luther King. In view of your low-grade abnormal personal behavior, I will not dignify your name with either a miss or a reverend or a doctor. And your last name calls to mind only the type of king such as King Henry VIII and his countless acts of adultery and immoral conduct, that of a beast. King, look into your heart. You know you are a complete fraud and a great liability to all of us individuals.
And the stream is down.
White people in this country have enough frauds of their own, but I'm sure they don't have one at the time that is anywhere near your equal. You are no clergyman. I repeat, you are a colossal fraud and an evil. Clearly you don't believe. They tell him to kill himself somewhere in here.
Bad.
Who wrote this?
King, this is the FBI.
Jesus
wrote
Christ.
this to Martin Luther King. And people say, well, the intelligence community is this honorable group of people. Fuck
They're
that.
reading him for filth. You know for a fact it's the FBI?
Yes, this is verifiable. This is written by the FBI. King, there's only one thing left for you to do. You know what it is. You have just 34 days in which to do.
Sexual orgies.
You are done.
I was going to bring up the idea.
You better take it before your filthy, abnormal, fraudulent self is bared to the nation. So this is what the FBI is capable of doing. Published in the New York Times, Yale historian. What an uncensored level to blah, blah, blah.
In regard to the things like that, I think I just want to say one thing that, like, regardless of whether or not JFK and RFK were assassinated by the CIA, I certainly think that it's reasonable to say that it is at least they have the capability to do. They have the capability to do something like that. Whether or not they did,
they do this shit. They certainly,
I think they
certainly were involved in Martin Luther King's death. They certainly were involved in Malcolm X's death. They knew Malcolm X was going to get killed, and they did nothing about it because they surveilled his phone lines all the time. So of course, the intelligence communities are capable of great fucking bullshit and corruption, just like they're capable of good stuff. But to sit here and hold them up in high regard is like saying, well, every policeman by definition is a hero. Every teacher by definition is a hero. Every member of the intelligence community is a member of is a hero. It's like, no, bullshit. Individuals are heroes based on their own merit. Or institutions and organizations tilt toward corruption.
I think that,
ladies and gentlemen, this has been the PF Young Gender Flux podcast. What are you going to say, Tyler?
Oh, I was going to say, I think it's a bit speculation to go off of the JFK, RFK stuff. If you look at Crossfire Hurricane, you can see some nefarious things the FBI did, like the Anthony Weiner laptop. A guy named Andy McCabe hid that from the investigation until trying to push it to after the election in order to help Hillary Clinton win.
Yep, that makes sense.
So
lots of meddling.
We live in a shithole state, shithole country.
Listen, you guys got a lot of work to do if you want to catch up. But
I know, I'm just kidding. I'm very grateful for my position, and to be honest, I could just close my eyes and walk through life blind and go live my life and not care that the people running things killed Martin Luther King. But I refuse to sit back and let that happen. Any final points in the final 30 seconds here? Guys, anyone?
I got one. Don't criminalize people using crazy legal theories, because the implications of that would be the law never evolves past its current state.
I agree with that.
True.
Well, I think this indictment goes a little beyond
ladies and gentlemen,
criminalizing.
Thank you.
Fringe legal theories.
For tuning in to the Gender Flux.
Gender Flux.
We
gonna fuck your gender up.
We should make a version, like a chill version of the Gender Flux theme song.
A lo-fi.
Gender Flux.